What I teach you, what I talk about is that the key to building a long-term business is being unabashedly you and not being afraid that you might offend some people. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not going to start going off on long political diatribes on my page. But for example, if I see something that I think needs to be said, whether it's about a political issue, about, some kind of, other issue that's going on in society, I'm going to say it. And if that offends people and they don't like it, that's okay. Welcome to the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast, where being a badass has less to do with what you wear and what music you listen to, and everything to do with whether you've got the thriving online business of your dreams. I'm your renegade thinking Harvard Law grad turned online entrepreneur host, Bobby Klink. In my years building my thriving business, the most important lesson I've learned is that being a badass online marketer isn't about secret strategies or ninja tactics. It's about doing the basic stuff right and showing the F up. So each week here on the show, you'll get clear, easy to execute guidance on how to build your online business and a swift kick in the ass or two to make sure you're getting it done. Hey there, welcome to episode 155 of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and today's episode is going to be a fun one. It's going to be interesting, and what I'm going to be talking about is my new social media strategy. And I wanted to lay this out because I'm going to be doing some things differently, but also because I need to come to you and lead and step into my leadership and to kind of tell you when I was messing some things up. And so we're going to do some of that today. We're going to talk about that, and I'm going to get honest with you. I'm going to get raw. I'm going to get real, and I'm going to talk about it because I think it's important for us to do. So that's what we have in store. I'm excited, and let's go ahead and dive in. Now, first, I've got to start with an apology. If you follow me on social media, I need to apologize to you. And it came to mind to me. I'm recording this. We're kind of in the middle of the kind of COVID thing and the paycheck protection program, that SBA loan program where there were a lot of problems the first iteration, where small businesses, even if you applied right at the beginning, you didn't get a loan, you didn't get anything, and yet the big businesses were getting it. Well, I did that with Chase. And Chase is my bank for the online business. I've got employees. So I applied, and I was using kind of my income, but also the small pay I had last year, basically the small payroll I had for employees last year, but I was doing it so I could pay my current employees. And so that's what I was doing. And I submitted the application on day one that Chase had it open, April 6th. And I hear nothing for 11 days. I hear nothing from them until after the money has already run out, where they send this bulk email to people that says something like, we've already notified everyone who, got a loan. So if you haven't heard from us, you haven't gotten anything. And then there was this thing like, we're sorry, we haven't been great at communication. We'll do better. Like that was their thing. Now, to me, that was an inappropriate thing. Like for a bank to go dark for 11 days, ignore its clients, say nothing, tell them nothing during an economic, upheaval, and then say, hey, we're sorry, we'll do better. That's not good enough. That's not where that phrase works. Because with a lot of people, not for my business, my business, like I've said, my business is going to survive no matter what, but I would like the cushion to pay my employees and to feel that level of kind of, comfort that I can keep them on payroll and don't have to make any changes, and that basically we're doing that. So I didn't think it was an appropriate response there. But I think for what I've been doing on social media, I do need to say that. I need to say, I'm sorry, I'll do better. And I need to say that to you because realistically, I've lost my way on social media in a couple of really important ways, and I'm going to do better. So first, I want to talk about this. One of the things that I preach, if you listen to this podcast, is that you shouldn't be doing things just because it's what the gurus or other people say you should be doing. So that's one of the things I talk about all the time. I talk about do the stuff that actually matters, not what some person said you should be doing. And yet what I've found is that some of the things I was doing on social media, I was doing just because, like, I would literally, I would hear these words coming out of my mouth talking to my team. Like, it would be weird if I didn't. And by weird, what we were really saying is people might look at me and say, well, the gurus say you're supposed to do that. Why aren't you doing it? I mean, that was kind of what I was thinking. And of course, people wouldn't refer to them as gurus. People wouldn't say that. But people would, in fact, be judging me, or that was my concern. And that's not a good reason to be doing anything. It's just not. And so as a result, because I was doing it just because people were telling me to do it, or not me, but, telling us to do it, you could kind of tell. That was obvious if you looked at it. And what I'm going to talk about here, just to be clear, I'm really talking about what I've been doing on Instagram more than anything else. Now, I'm going to talk about Facebook and Instagram because those are the two places I live on social media. But really, I'm talking about Instagram. And there were a couple of things, like, just so that you know, the posts, and again, if you followed my Instagram, you probably knew this. The posts were outsourced. I had a social media manager doing it, which, again, there's nothing wrong with that. And a lot of my friends would say it's okay to have, some what one of my friends would call white noise posts, just kind of the routine stuff that goes up from time to time, and then sprinkle that in with some more, meaningful content. But when you looked at my feed, you could look and, somebody looked at it, my Katie and I, my integrator and I were looking at some point, and she basically said, it's obvious that you're not really here, that you're not the one doing this. And that was true. I think anybody looking at it could tell that. And here's the funny thing. When I actually posted things like separate from what a social media manager was doing, you know what? Those posts got a lot of interaction. Those posts, people noticed. And there's a reality there. And this is something where, in some sense, for some people, it's not a big deal, right? If it's not a big deal if people don't, if it's obvious that other people are, creating things for them in their business, et cetera. And it's not a big deal because a lot of people, that's not their brand and they don't claim anything else. Well, my whole brand, the whole thing I teach you is about connecting with your people. And I talk about it mainly in the context of like email marketing and these things. But I was doing the same things on social media that I criticize people for doing in emails. I was outsourcing it and letting someone else do it. And yes, I put together like a list of Bobbyisms, like things I would say. And so the things that you're seeing like on my quote cards are generally things I have said, right? But still, it was just let's just put posts up because that's what people say should be done. But on top of that, everybody who really paid attention would have noticed another thing that I did that you would have seen if you or that I complain about with email, which is, yes, I kind of had a minimal presence on Instagram, but all of a sudden when I went to sell, ooh boy, there were a lot of posts, and ooh boy, I would go live on stories. I would actually have videos of me and all that. I was like that friend who only calls you when they want help moving. Now, again, it wasn't as bad as some people are with email where they literally don't email at all because we did have an Instagram presence. But anyone who was really watching my Instagram would have been able to see, and this is kind of the test I see. They would have been like, oh, well, Bobby's clearly about to start selling something because all of a sudden I see videos of him, like lives things on lives that are him, not someone else, et cetera. And so you could kind of see that. But also, here's the bigger thing. One of the things that I talk about here in this podcast and everywhere else is that we all need more cowbell in our brands. And by that, I mean put more of you into your brand. That your brand should be unabashedly you, because that's the way you connect with people. And yet, my Instagram, my social media was not. It was not me. I was not showing up. I was not doing the things that are unmistakably me on Instagram. My Instagram was bland. It was vanilla. It was blah. Now, yes, some of the times my quotes, my Bobbyisms would, get some traction because they were, things that I say that are kind of like the kick in the butt that I give you here on this podcast and elsewhere. But for the most part, they weren't. And so for the most part, it was like, nobody pays attention. But I've also held back for fear that I might offend on social media. And again, what I want to talk about here is this is broader than business. I've kind of thought I can't be me in certain ways on social media because I'm afraid I might turn some people off, and I use social media mainly for business. Well, you know what? That is contrary to what I teach you. What I teach you, what I talk about is that the key to building a long-term business is being unabashedly you. And not being afraid that you might offend some people. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not going to start going off on long political diatribes on my page. But for example, if I see something that I think needs to be said, whether it's about a political issue, about, some kind of, other issue that's going on in society, I'm going to say it. And if that offends people and they don't like it, that's okay. Because I believe that I have an important role to play in being myself, in being a leader, in all of the things that I do in my life. Again, this does not mean, and I don't want you to mean that I believe that everybody should be out there, doing political rants and all of this. I don't think talking politics on social media is the best thing to do. I've never had success at it, and I've had a lot of hurt feelings in the old days before I was using it mainly for business. But my friend Tyler McCall, I've seen him recently. Again, he's not being overly political, but he says things, like when the Paycheck Protection Program kind of ran out of money and basically all these big businesses and all these big, huge companies made money, but the small guy didn't. He put it this comment that says, for all of you who say, and I think it was a post or something like this, for all of you who say that you should keep business out of politics, this is a lesson that that your politics affects your business. And there was a point there. And I've seen what Tyler has done, and I want to follow his lead. I want to follow his lead in being genuinely me when I see things that I think need to be said. So over the last couple of weeks, I have done more of when I see people on social media who are saying things or spreading information that I believe is problematic, I will say it. I do it respectfully. I do my best to not, get into fights about it. But, if I see someone suggesting that coronavirus is, a conspiracy theory involving 5G and Bill Gates, I'm going to call you on the BS that is. Now, again, this is the minimal point, and I don't want to get bogged down in this, but I simply had to make the point because I think so many of us feel like that, like we can't say things we believe on social because it might offend. And I'm okay with offending. As long as it's on them, not on me. As long as I'm respectful about it, and as long as I simply say things in a respectful way and make my point, etc., there is nothing disrespectful about me doing it. And if they're offended, that's about them, not about me. And I'm okay with that. So those are the things I have to kind of apologize for, the things that I was doing. I was holding back. I was being afraid. I wasn't being me. I wasn't kind of showing my personality. And so that's going to change. And so I wanted to talk about my new plan, and I'm going to break it down by what I'm doing on Facebook and Instagram. And I want to be very clear. I joked recently that I may have rediscovered the value of Twitter because it's a place to go to just rant, and Bobby rants are always good. But Twitter is not going to be part of my overall social media strategy. I don't spend time on LinkedIn. And I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that Twitter is bad. I'm not saying that LinkedIn is bad. I'm simply saying that's not where I'm building my business. And one of the things I do talk about is focus on what matters in your business. I believe, candidly, you could spend your time on either Facebook or Instagram and build a business, spending 90% of your time on one of those and not even really spending much time on the other. But those are the platforms that I choose to play in. And so that's what I'm going to talk about. Now, first, I'm going to talk about my Facebook plan because that's the easiest to talk about. My plan of how I'm going to handle Facebook is largely going to be the same. What I mean is I'm going to keep showing up. It's a place where I built my business by showing up in groups, my groups, other people's groups, etc. I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep building community. I'm going to keep kind of building my internal community, my badass online marketers group. I love it. I was talking with my team. It's getting to the point that I love it because when I go on half the time now and there's a question, by the time I see it, assuming it's not like a legal question. Legal questions are different, but everything besides legal questions nowadays, by the time I get on there, normally there's been a bunch of engagement from other people, and that's what I want to see. But what I want you to understand is that's something that happened because we fostered it. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of time of me being there, of putting in the time, of putting in the effort to get to the point that the group is now getting to the point of being kind of what I would call self-sustaining and self-moderating in a lot of ways. And so I love that, but I'm going to keep doing it. I'm going to keep encouraging it. We're going to keep doing our engagement contest because we want to foster that kind of engagement from people. And so that's going to keep happening. So I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep building community. I'm also going to keep working on my gift game because I love a good gift. I love having fun in social, and you'll see that oftentimes I do that. And my friend Meg Wheeler and I sometimes will have entire conversations in nothing but gifts, which is a lot of fun. But we're going to keep doing that to keep it light and fun because to me that's what social needs to be. But another thing, like one of the things, kind of the big change that's going to happen is that from now on, my Friday episodes, and this has already started, so if you haven't figured it out, it's already started. We're doing the Friday podcast episodes as a live on my page on Facebook, on the Bobby Klink page at noon Eastern time. I go on there, I do a live. We then have a system, a software called repurpose.io that if I use a certain hashtag, we have it set up so it's automatically going to pull that. It's going to put the bumpers and the intro and the outro on and upload it to Libsyn so it's there. So that's what we're doing now for Friday episodes. And I want to keep doing that. And so we're going to keep doing that. But that's a big change. Every Friday, I'm doing that. Now, part of this is that I love going live and, I've gone live sporadically on Facebook, but this is one where I do want to show up consistently so that my followers know I will be there at noon on Fridays on my page talking about something. Now, I may have to make some exceptions, right? If I'm, if there's a time when, for example, I'm going to have to, be traveling on a Friday or something like that, we'll make a change. But part of what I'm doing is that the Friday episodes are now being treated as bonus episodes of this podcast. So, it may be that some Fridays, if I have to travel, if something's happening, we may just decide we can go without a Friday episode. I haven't made that decision yet, or I may pre-record. We'll see how it works out. But from a social media standpoint, now my friends, my followers on Facebook will know that Friday at noon Eastern time, you can go to the Bobby Klink page and you'll see me go live and do one of my podcast episodes where I'm kind of giving you, normally my Friday episodes are the swift kick in the rear that you need, but they're going to be something. Sometimes it's teaching, sometimes it's one big lesson, but that's what we're going to be doing. So that's one of the big changes that you'll be seeing. So that's kind of the biggest change you'll see on kind of the business side of my Facebook act. But there is something that you'll also see, which is, and I've started doing this recently, for a long time, and a lot of people, I guess, didn't even realize that I had my personal profile and my business page, and now both are Bobby Klink. But my personal profile had kind of gone stale. I wasn't really doing anything with it. Yes, that's how I interacted with people in groups, et cetera, but I was never posting anything. And part of that is, of course, look, I believe, and I'm a rule follower, even though I'm kind of a rebel, and Facebook's rules say we're not supposed to be doing business with our personal profile. So we're not supposed to be like posting business stuff and promoting stuff for our business profile. Now, a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it exclusively on their personal profile because you tend to get better reach. To me, that's kind of like one of those things. If you need to do that, it's a sign that you have a bigger problem in your business long term. But we can leave that aside. But, I have no problem with sharing something, et cetera, if you see it, with your personal profile. But one of the things that I want to do is, look, social media is supposed to be social. It's supposed to be about connecting, about showing who I am, about all of those things. So I'm going to start, and I have already started, having more fun with my personal profile. And what I mean by that is posting little random thoughts that I'm hearing or that I'm having. Like I posted one recently about, about all the conspiracy theories going around about coronavirus and me laughing about it because having worked in government, I simply can't imagine that the government would be capable of some grand conspiracy. Just the level of competence that would be required to have a conspiracy, put it together, and keep people quiet is hilarious to me because not what I've experienced. I mean, think about it. A lot of the people who would be involved in a conspiracy about the coronavirus are kind of the equivalent of like a DMV employee. And if you really believe that those people are part of a grand conspiracy, okay, cool, whatever. So I did a post that was just kind of, having fun with that. But I've done other ones that aren't about that are just about, like a question like, how are we going to do this whole like massage parlor or not parlor, but massage business where you're getting massages like, with having to keep 6 feet of social distance from people. I'm trying to figure this one out because people have been talking about that and I just don't get it. And of course, there have been some funny jokes I've seen about people like getting their nails done where like you stick your hands through like the mail slot in your door. So things like that. And again, it's not all going to be COVID, obviously, but that's obviously what we're thinking about right now because what we're hearing about. And so I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to poke some fun. I'm going to be lighthearted because that's what I like to do. And so that's what I'm going to do. And that's what we'll see. And I had another post where I talked about how I've decided I'm going to start brewing beer, but how in the world am I going to drink 30 gallons of beer all by myself? Because that's a heck of a challenge with no friends. And so, things like that are the things that I will be posting, just poking fun at life, at what's going on, at myself. And so I'm going to start doing that more on Facebook because I want to get back to having fun. And here's the thing. I want my profile, my personal profile to be something where, my friends, but also people that I know through business, et cetera, can have fun with it. And for a long time, I think, kind of my in real life friends and family probably just ignored me because there was nothing coming out that was really, just kind of me being me. And so I'm going to change that. So that's one of the things. And I encourage you to think about this. And this is part of the thing of where I'm saying, maybe some of what I'm going to do there is going to upset some people. And maybe some people who know me from business are going to unfriend me and going to not want to do business with me because of what I post. Okay, that's fine. That's a trade-off I'm willing to make. Because I believe that if business, that business can't be something that drains all the fun out of life. One of my core values is that business should be fun. And so, the business itself should be fun. But more importantly, the last thing I want is to build a business that requires me to not have fun in life. And so I'm not going to let that happen. So that's my Facebook plan. Not a huge change. Not something, you're not going to notice a big difference. Now we got to talk about Instagram because we're going to have some changes over there. You're going to, from now on, you're not going to see just if you go to look at my posts, you're not going to just see, let's just put up posts for the sake of putting up posts because that's what everybody says you're supposed to do. Basically what I've kind of said, and this came from talking with one of my friends, Melanie, who was kind of the original generator of the more cowbell idea. And she's a social media kind of strategist more broadly. And basically the way I would describe her is she teaches people how to use social media, kind of how I teach you to use email, about more cowbell, put yourself, build your personality into it, et cetera. And she kind of said this when I was talking to her about, Instagram and how, my heart wasn't in it and all that. She said, well, if, your choices are between kind of, just saying, forget it, I'm not going to do anything and having some fun. Why don't you just say, screw it and go have some fun over there? So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to say, screw it. And you're going to get hashtag more Bobby. Forget more cowbell. It's going to be 100% me really kind of going out. And again, yes, we'll have posts about my podcast episodes when they come out. Yes. But for the most part, here's what you're going to be seeing. You're going to be seeing, the wacky Bobby that if you're on my email list, you see in my emails. You're going to be seeing me, doing like random thoughts about weird things. And I say weird, I'm not getting crazy here, but just little observations I make of things that are kind of strange. And then you're going to hear me give you some guru rants, because what I found is, if you're in my audience, it seems like you guys really like it when I rant about gurus telling you have to do things. And so I'm going to do some of that, and I'm going to, find ways that it's funny. Now, it's not going to be, being mean, but it's going to be poking fun at those kinds of things. And yes, you're going to get some inspiration, because sometimes I just feel like being inspiring or trying my best at it. And, I'm thinking we're going to do some Throwback Thursdays, but my Throwback Thursdays are going to be different than most people. What I was thinking is maybe I'm going to do throwback to things I used to believe about marketing. Basically a way for me to make fun of, prior Bobby and the things he used to believe. It's kind of a way for me to maybe make fun of myself and teach a lesson all in one. So that's what we're thinking. And, what we're going to be doing is you're going to be seeing more video, more IGTV, and less just kind of static image posts. And if they're static images, it very well may be me literally taking a selfie on my phone at the moment that I'm having this random thought and putting it up there. Because I don't care about, my grid being pretty and alternating between quote cards and pictures of me. Sure, I know that's what the Instagram people tell you, but I'm not going to follow what other people tell me to do anymore, because that's not what I want. And, I'm telling you this not because I'm saying that you should say, ooh, I'm going to do exactly what Bobby's doing here because this is a great idea. I have no stinking idea whether this is going to work or not. But again, one of my rules of business is that business should be fun. And so I'm going to make Instagram fun for me. That's part of my goal here, is so that it's not something that I feel like I need to outsource because it's kind of like, I don't really want to do it. Now, again, putting up the posts about my podcast, my team's going to do that still. When we have promo things, my team's going to do that still. I mean, because let's just be honest, there's no way that I'm going to remember to do all those things. But I'm going to be on there. And here's the other thing. I'm not going to worry about, I can't post this now because, it would mess up the grid. That's going to be the last thing on my mind, because I don't care what my grid looks like. I care about connecting with you, about putting out things that people actually enjoy and want to see. And so that's going to be my focus. And, it's going to be me on steroids. It's going to be kind of everything you've seen, you've heard, about me, really kind of amplified, because I believe that that's going to be the best way that I can connect with you, that I can provide value, that I can do all of these things. And here's another thing I want you to know. Now, maybe you know this or maybe you don't, but I'm going to, break the marketing fourth wall here for you and kind of let you in on a secret. A lot of times when you are talking to a thought leader, someone who's viewed as an influencer or a guru, you're not actually talking to them. And that's true whether it's engagement on their posts, in the DMs, etc. A lot of that is outsourced as well. If someone likes your post, hashtag sorry, not sorry, there's a good chance it wasn't them, it was their team. And I won't name names, but I know a lot of people who I know where it's kind of funny because ironically, I think what has happened at various times is my social media manager was talking to their social media manager in spite of the fact that we're actually friends with each other. But that's just kind of the way things work in the online space. Well, not me. Here's the commitment I want you to know. And I can't promise this will be the case forever. But by the time this comes out and this goes live, this will be true. If you get a like from my page, it's me. If you get a comment from my Instagram profile, it's me. If you're in the DMs talking to my Instagram profile, it's me. You are dealing with Bobby. And I'm doing that because just like I love, writing my emails and responding to people who reply to my emails because I know that's how I can actually genuinely connect with people, the same darn thing with engagement. Engagement is the last thing that I think we should outsource, because engagement is where the magic happens. And I lost that. I had lost my way on that. I had been looking for quick fixes. I had been looking for ways to outsource these things. And what I'll tell you is, for the most part, if you were doing DMs with me in the past, it was me. I can't be 100%. I mean, sometimes, if we were in the middle of a promotion and someone was looking for a link or something like that, I'm sure at that point, sometimes my team jumped in. But one of the things I will say going forward is if that happens, if we find that we need to do that, I'm going to make sure that my team actually says, hey, it's Bobby's team here, so that you know. So if you don't see that, you're going to know it's me. But I can guarantee you that people who are liking, who are engaging, who, when you were seeing a response sometime to if you commented on one of my posts, it might have been me or it might have been my team. And I'm not going to do that anymore. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, and I'm not, I don't want this to sound like I'm preachy. And I'm saying that the people who do that are doing something wrong. I simply tell you that that's not consistent with the message that I have been preaching to you for well over a year now. The entire concept of, my Fans First Society membership is that, you engage with people, that you do the work, that you nurture the people. And again, I've preached it so much with my email, and I lost my way when it came to the social media. And so I am going to bring the vigor that I have brought to Facebook, so that just so you know, if you saw, my personal profile, it was always me, and the engagement that almost everybody has seen with me in Facebook groups, that's me 100%. Well, I'm going to bring that same energy to Instagram, or I'm not going to bring it at all. And so let me tell you what that means. What that means is that I can't promise you that if you, comment on one of my posts that I will definitely respond. I just can't make that commitment. And a lot of people do that. And I'm going to do my best. But here's what I can commit to you. If you comment on one of my posts and you get a response, or you get a like, or you get a heart, or whatever the other things are, it's me. And you'll know that you're actually connecting with Bobby. So that's the commitment I'm making to you. So in a nutshell, I started this episode by apologizing because I had lost my way. And for me, that meant that I was not showing up primarily on Instagram, but a little bit on Facebook in a little ways where I was, afraid to be, but I wasn't showing up being authentic in the way that I teach you to be authentic. And so for that, I'm sorry. I will do better. And going forward, my social media strategy is built around Facebook and Instagram, and it is 100% about me being me, having fun, engaging with you, connecting with you, and doing it in the genuine way that I love to connect with you. So that's what you can expect from me going forward. If you want to follow me, if you want to actually, do these things, hopefully, you're connected with me on Facebook, but you can find me. I'm just Bobby Clank. I've got me and my page. And on Instagram, I'm at Bobby Clank. I would love to connect with you. And again, here's the good news. The good news is, that if you connect with me and you're actually dealing with, with me on Instagram or Facebook, it's me. So it is for you a direct way to connect with me at this point. So I give that to you. I'd love to connect with you over there. I'd love to hear what you think about this podcast and about my new social media strategy. I'd love to hear from you on Instagram. Hey, why don't we up some conversations there? I would love to see that, and I'd love to kind of find ways to really kind of hear what you're thinking about my new plan. So that's it for today. Make sure to join me on Friday on my Facebook page live at noon Eastern time, where I will be doing the Friday episode. I'll see you there. That's it for this episode of the Certified Badass Online Marketing Podcast. Make sure to tune in next time. And in the meantime, go out and build the badass business of your dreams.